Hello. April Mac here, going live to talk to you all about what it takes to become a soul-led entrepreneur. This is something I'm so incredibly passionate about, so I'm delighted to be delivering this masterclass series this week. This is number 1 of 5 sessions that we're going to run. We're going to do them each day this week at the same time. So hopefully you can come and watch them live, and if you can't, you can catch the replay. So just a few things. If you're watching on replay, I've got hair in my face, sorry about that. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. And if you're joining me live, just send a love heart or make a little comment to say hello so that I know who's here and who's watching. And if you don't know me, I'll tell you a little bit about me, but also I do need to warn you that I swear quite a bit and it's a little bit uncontrollable at times. So if you're offended by that, you may not want to watch, but hopefully if you're offended by that, you can just get past that and just ignore that part and hopefully just get the content, because I've got a lot of gold wisdom to share with you today. I really want to share what I've learned through my own journey and through helping other people with theirs. And so I think it's going to be really, really valuable. And so this is really for people who are starting out in business. Either you've started and you're just not getting the traction you want, or you haven't yet started but you've got some ideas and you want to start a business. This is going to be a really valuable series for you to watch so that you can start out on the right foot, which is not what I did. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of the mistakes I made. So just so you know what we're covering over the next 5 days, we're looking today at what it takes to become a soul-led entrepreneur. What does that mean? What does that take? Then tomorrow we're going to be looking at what's the difference between a business and a hobby. And so there are legal differences for one thing, and I'll be talking about the situation here in Australia. But there's also just a mindset difference as well that I want to talk to you about. The Wednesday, we're going to look at gaining clarity on your purpose and vision for your business. And if you don't yet have any ideas, that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. So we can get to that on Wednesday and really help you hone in on what you feel you're being called to do in your business and what your vision for that might be. Then on Thursday, we're going to look at your business model, talk about business models. I'm not going to look specifically at yours, but I will be talking about ways to keep your business model simple so that you can hit the ground running without having massive expenses. Because a lot of people, when they start out in business, if you're anything like me, I overcomplicated it. I had all these costs that I didn't need to have. And so I really want to talk to you on Thursday about how you can keep it really simple. Try out lots of different things without it costing you an arm and a leg so that you don't fall out of the entrepreneurial game before you even start. And on Friday, I want to talk to you about, it sounds a bit dry and it is a bit dry, but it's about creating solid foundations. So on Friday, we'll be talking about accounting, admin, all those kind of foundational things that you need to have in place that'll just make it easier for you down the track. So again, I'll be sharing the mistakes that I made, because I always think that's a really good way for people to learn, is by knowing what not to do. And I'll be sharing some really awesome tips on things that you can do that are really simple just to get you started on the right foot. So if you are joining, please say hello so that I know who's watching. Hello, gorgeous people coming in. And in terms of how long we're going to be on here today, I have got an enormous amount to say and I really, really want to share as much valuable wisdom as I can, because I know not everyone can afford to take on programs at the moment. So I want to give lots of free content here. So I think it will be, let me just think, probably about between half an hour and 45 minutes today, I reckon. I'll go as fast as I can. So if you've got a notepad and pen, bring that along today and take some notes. And please feel free to comment as we go. If you can't stay for the whole thing, that's totally fine as well. Just come back and watch it in your own time, because this will be available beyond today. So you can just come back and watch it at your leisure. So if you can stick around, awesome. And do feel free to ask questions and comment as we go. So what it takes to be a soul-led entrepreneur, that's what we're here to talk about today. And that really comes down to 2 parts. So there's entrepreneur and soul-led. And I want to start by talking about what it takes to be an entrepreneur first of all, and then move on to the soul-led. So if that's cool with you, that's how we'll approach it. And yeah, so the entrepreneur thing, you are watching this because you're either already an entrepreneur or you're thinking of becoming one, or there's some kind of interest for you in entrepreneurship. So for me, when I first started out, I knew that I wanted to do something. I felt called to do something beyond the corporate world, which was my background. I just knew that I wanted to do something. So I ended up just dabbling and doing weird stuff, any old stuff that it felt called to do, but I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I didn't have any structured approach. I just got out there, gave myself a name, created a big fancy website, and basically overcomplicated things right from the beginning. So I don't know where you're at, but if you're thinking that you want to become an entrepreneur, it's really worthwhile knowing what you're getting yourself in for and understanding what does it actually mean, what will it take. So it's very different, clearly, than being employed. So maybe you're employed right now and you will probably have a fairly steady income. You'll know what to expect and when, and you'll be receiving money on a regular basis. That might be your situation, or you might be not in work at the moment but wanting to start a business and work from home, which is what my situation is now. So you might have no income right now. You might not have anything frequent or consistent. So whichever camp you're in, it doesn't matter. But knowing that when you become an entrepreneur, that there's going to be a whole heap of uncertainty that comes with that career choice is really worth knowing. And it's something I didn't understand well enough. And what I've come to realize is that even though there is uncertainty, I can manage myself through that uncertainty if I plan for it, and I can expect, I know there's going to be highs and lows. I'm not expecting there to be a standard income. So if I was expecting that and then it didn't happen, which is probably what happened for me in the early days, then I get disappointed and I freak out and I go, oh my God, I can't do this. So if you know, I mean, you can plan for the fact that being an entrepreneur, it's going to look like this, your income, and your income actually might look like nothing for quite a while, for quite some time before you start making clients. But what I want to do is help you to actually make some money early on so that you're not just seeing it go flatline or dipping down as your expenses, you know, dwindle away at any money you've got. You want to try and make some sales in the early days and test out the market that you're here to fill. So that's where on Thursday, I think it was, we're going to be talking about business models. That's where I want to talk about how to create a business model that's going to allow you to earn money quickly. That's what you want. Earn, you know, it might not be masses of money, but it'll give you a chance to test the market and see what resonates with various people. What will people pay for? And once you get an idea of that, you can really start to scale it. So that's what we'll be talking about on Thursday. But so having, back to what it takes to be an entrepreneur, having an acceptance that you're going to be faced with a lot of uncertainty. You're going to be faced with uncertainty in terms of money, and also in terms of what do your audience or the people who are going to buy from you, what do they want? You won't know. You won't know when you start out. You might think, oh, I've got this great idea and people are going to just line up for it, and then you put it out there and then nobody bloody buys it, right? This can happen. It happens all the time. It happens for the clients that I work with, and then they're like, what the hell am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? So just knowing that that could be your life for a little while is certainly worth being armed with that knowledge, and not expecting that the minute that you step into the arena that suddenly you're going to make $1 million. And if there's anyone out there, because there's a lot of internet marketers out there telling you just follow this blueprint, these steps, this roadmap, just do this one thing, is what they'll be saying. Just pay me $10,000 and I'll teach you this one secret that nobody else knows, that will make you an overnight success. Then I can pretty much guarantee that they're probably, well, I'm saying guarantee and probably in the same sentence. That doesn't work, does it? They're very likely bullshitting you, basically. So what has worked for one person or a group of people doesn't mean it works for everyone. And people charging lots and lots of money to teach you their one blueprint idea for success are often just really, really good marketers. So I learned that the hard way. I followed a woman who was telling me I could just do this really simple thing to set up my business, and it took me a year to set it all up. It cost me an absolute fortune. This was like using automated software and all sorts of stuff to get people into a funnel to buy my services. And by the end of a year, I'd spent a huge amount of time, money, and effort and had very, very few clients. And it wasn't the business model that I actually really wanted, because I actually want to interact with people. I don't want people going through an automated funnel. It's not what I want. So I really want to warn you against anyone who's telling you that there's really, really simple ways to do it. There are simple ways that are low cost, and I'm going to tell you about them, and I'm going to tell you about them free here on Thursday, because I don't want you going down that path that I went down. So we've covered off uncertainty well and truly. If you've got any questions about that or anything as we go, please do ask them. Also, the difference, there's a whole lot of mindset differences between being employed and being an entrepreneur. Obviously, as an employee, someone will tell you, your boss or whoever, will give you feedback on how well you're going and how you're doing, and you'll get performance appraisals, and you'll get that constant feedback on, are you doing a good job? Where can you improve, etc. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't get that. You got to do it all yourself. You have to figure it out. So it can be quite a lonely ride. And it doesn't have to be completely lonely, because you can certainly surround yourself with awesome, like-minded entrepreneurs who are doing the same thing. There's heaps of free networking groups. There's some paid mastermind groups. Awesome people that you can be connected with, and I really strongly advise doing that, because it can be a lonely road otherwise. But certainly in terms of feedback, the best feedback you're going to get is from the people who are buying your products. And if they're not buying your products, then that is feedback too. That's feedback to say, do you know what, I've missed the mark. And it can be really tricky before we've had a few clients to work out, well, why did I miss it? It's really hard to sort of see if you can scan people and say, why didn't you buy it? So there are things you can do though to try and get feedback, and you might offer things really cheaply in the beginning just to get a little group together to trial out an idea. You don't have to do things cheaply, not by any means, but if you're not getting traction, you might want to see if you can get a little focus group together, offer them something really valuable, and then get their feedback as part of the exchange for what it is you're offering. So yeah, getting used to having to work stuff out yourself, like the feedback from your customers, will be absolutely crucial. And if you can find ways to get that feedback and maybe reward them for giving it to you, that's a really useful thing to do. The next thing is passion. Having passion for what it is that you're going into the world to offer is incredibly important. And if you don't have that, it's very unlikely that you're going to be in it for the long game. And what I've always done is tried to do the things that light me up, that literally, if you say to yourself, I would do this for free, I would offer this service for free because I'm so passionate about it, then that's a really good indicator that you're onto the right thing, that's something that you should be doing and that you should be getting paid for. But so it's just a really good test to ask yourself, would I do it for free? Do I love it that much? If you don't love it, then maybe have a think about how you could tweak it so that you do love it, because in this game, you're going to have to love what you do, because there is so much involved that, without passion, you're just not going to stick it out. So be passionate, but know that passion alone isn't enough. So when I first started, I think I was so passionate that I thought, well, that's all it's going to take. I just need to be passionate and that'll be it. And there was all this other stuff that I didn't understand and didn't realize. So passion alone is not enough, but it's absolutely your best friend. And whenever things get tricky, and maybe you're not making as much money as what you're wanting, having that passion there and going back to what many people call your why, the why it is that you're doing what you're doing, that will keep you steady in those moments where there's uncertainty or where you're not earning the amount of income that you're wanting. So it's really, really critical. The next thing I want to talk about, and I keep looking down because I've got notes here to keep me on track today, otherwise I would be all over the place. The next thing is agility and flexibility. So we'll talk more about this on Thursday around the business model that you set up, but it's really important that you can create a level of agility and flexibility in your business model so that if you try something out and it doesn't work, you can pivot and tweak it and get it out quickly. So this is the mistake I made in the beginning. I set up a very, very complicated automated system where I would have to use Facebook ads, spend a fortune on Facebook ads to get people into a funnel that would then automatically send them through a series of steps to end up, getting a free product, then a paid product, and these sorts of things. So I had to create all the products and I had to set up all the funnel and all the integration. I did all of it myself and had all of this working. But by the time I got it out there, because it took so bloody long, by the time I got it out there, I think the content was out of date. I didn't even want to offer it anymore. There was no way of testing that really, really quickly and easily. It took so long. So that is what I'm saying is like a terrible model to start out with, because you can't test the market quickly and easily and at low cost. So flexibility, giving yourself a model where you can test something out really quickly, see if it works, and then pivot if it doesn't, is really, really critical. The next thing is, this is all around mindset too. Well, it's mindset and business model here combined. The next thing is being prepared to fail. So often when we start out, we have an idea of what we think is needed and we do it and it doesn't work. And I see so many people just get so caught up in, oh, my idea was a failure. I'm a failure. Oh, my business is shit. I'm not going to pursue it. So I tell you what, the people who've invented anything in this world, the people who've invented the light and I don't know all the inventors' names. Do you know how many fucking times they failed? Like millions, right? But they never gave up. And that is why they ended up creating the plane and, flying, flying objects, not flying objects, aeroplanes and bloody light bulbs and all the amazing things that we've got. Do you think they got it right the very first time? No bloody way. When you started learning to walk, do you think you just stood up and walked? No, you fell on your bottom something like 70,000 times before you even took a step. But did the baby or did you give up and go, oh, well, fuck it, I can't walk? Clearly. No. So it's really, really important to have the mindset to know that you are going to fail. And failure is not failure. It's just learning. It's learning. It's learning. Every time that something doesn't work as you'd expected, you treat it like a scientific experiment. Okay, something went wrong. It didn't work. It fell flat. What can I learn from it? How will I do it differently? This is the flexibility, agility model that I'm talking about, so that you can keep pivoting, keep pumping stuff out without getting too much concern. And anyone who's been watching my progress over the last year will know that I've had some really successful programs that I've put out that have gone through the roof and that I've sold way more than I thought. And it's been totally unexpected. And then others that I thought were fucking brilliant didn't sell. And I thought, well, I could have packed up shop and gone, oh, well, clearly I'm not cut out. But no, I'm just like, well, okay, they don't want that. They don't want to buy that. Okay, what does that tell me about my audience? So learn from it and pivot, and don't feel ashamed if things don't go to plan. It is not that you're a failure. It's that idea didn't work at this time. Maybe it'll work later, but just learn what you can from it. Next thing that you need to have without a doubt, is self-belief. belief that you are worthy, belief that you have valuable gifts to offer the world, belief that, you know, people want to buy what you have to offer. If you don't have that, then please don't become an entrepreneur, because you will suffer. And if you don't have it and you are one, then you can work on that stuff. It's totally workoutable. There are, you know, it's mindset shifts that you need to make. It's understanding what your limiting beliefs are about yourself and about your abilities, about your worth. And that stuff can be worked on. So when I say please don't become an entrepreneur, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Do become an entrepreneur and work that fucking shit out, because becoming an entrepreneur, you will be forced to work that shit out. You will be forced to work it out really quickly, in fact, if you hang in there, because becoming an entrepreneur is like the fastest personal growth tool there is. And I'm saying that from my own personal experience, and I'm saying it from the experience of the people that I am so lucky to work with, my clients. I'm a business coach, as you probably know, and I get to work with people around their mindset, because so much of what we do in business, so much of our success is reliant on what's going on in here, what we're telling ourselves, what we believe to be true, and that stuff can be changed. Just like you can change the program in a computer, you can change your programming up here. It's not rocket science, and I help people with it all the time. So do your self-belief work. If you don't know about it and you want to know more, let me know. In fact, I've got a worksheet that I just always give out to people on limiting beliefs. If you want a worksheet, just put hashtag worksheet in the comments and I'll send one out to you. A lot of you have already got it. Anyone who's been working with me will know that worksheet well, and it really does work, and it's simple and it's free. You can do it yourself. Okay, so that's the stuff around mindset, having a robust mindset and a flexible business model that I really want to get you to understand. The next thing I want to talk to you about is some of the knowledge and practical skill sets you need when becoming an entrepreneur. And then we're going to move on to what it means to be soul-led. So I'm just going to take a quick sip of my coffee and have a little breath, because I feel like I've been talking ad nauseum. Please feel free to ask any questions while I do that. Anyone that's watching live. I think one of you, Sarah, is driving, so she's not going to be able to stop and ask a question, but that's totally cool. Hang on, I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. That's the thing about doing lives, is that, you know, I'm the one that has to do all the talking. It's not as interactive as I would like. I normally run my lessons in Zooms so that we can actually interact and ask questions. So that's always a bit better. I'm just going to move that back a bit. Hang on. Move my screen back a bit. Alrighty, so coming on now to the knowledge and practical steps and skills that you need to have under your belt when you're starting out as an entrepreneur. So obviously, when I started, as I said, I just mainly had passion and that was about it. But you do need more than that. I think the first thing that's useful to know is that you have to wear so many hats. You're basically the CEO, the marketing person, the salesperson, the administrator, the accountant. You're all of it. Everything that you have to do in business, when you start out, you will be doing all of those functions. So having a bit of a clue about each one of those is really quite important. And it's something I didn't have when I started out, and I just fumbled my way through it, let me tell you. So this is one of the reasons I'm running my course, Soul-Led Entrepreneur, which starts on Saturday this week, because I want to arm people with all those foundational skills they need to be able to start a business successfully, you know, rather than just learning on the go. So I'm talking here about admin, accounting, and sort of managing your cash flow, marketing and selling, managing your time effectively, because if you've been really used to working as an employee, it'll be very different when you're your own boss and an entrepreneur. You need to motivate yourself, and you need to find ways of efficiently working where you're not just sitting at a computer all day long, and you're not on the phone all day long and not on Zooms all day long, that you need to manage your time as well as you possibly can. So those sorts of things I will definitely cover in my program, and if you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. But certainly just setting up some really simple systems, starting with the end in mind, like thinking about, okay, I'm going to be running my business, having a separate bank account for your business is a really good idea. Something I didn't do when I set out, because in my mind, I was just trying stuff out. I was kind of moving from a hobby to a business, and I didn't really understand the delineation between the two. Again, that's content we'll cover tomorrow. So having your own separate bank account, you don't need anything special. It doesn't need to be a business bank account. It just needs to be a separate one where you manage the money there, so you can see how much you're putting in and how much is going out. In the early days, you'll probably have to fund yourself. So how much money are you going to loan yourself to start your business? And it's a really good idea to think of it as a loan, and consider how much you're going to need to get started. Loan yourself that amount and then pay yourself that money back, because the business is separate to you. And I did none of this when I started out. So that's a really good thing to think about. The next thing is, your admin, your folder system, or either paper files or electronic files. Try and keep them separate from your personal life as well. And think of a structure, a file structure that makes sense, so that you're not hunting around and wasting time looking for things all over the place. The other thing is, think about backup storage, because you're probably in the early days going to create a lot of content, and you want to have it not all just on one computer, that if that computer fails, it's all gone. So obviously it's really affordable now these days to have cloud storage. So Dropbox or OneDrive, or there's a lot of free storage packages around. So if you've got one that comes free with something you already have, use that. Otherwise, look at paid options. But in the early days, you'll probably have the cloud storage for free. The next thing is managing your time. I just want to make a quick mention of that. When I started my business, I thought, I've got to do it like I would in the corporate world, work 9 to 5, and that doesn't work for me. It doesn't suit me. It doesn't suit the way I work. So I've found new ways to work that really maximize my time, and you can do the same for yourself. So you might be someone who can sit down and work 9 to 5, and that's what works for you. However, if you're anything like me, I have to work in pockets of time, and I do what I'm in the mode for, what I feel excited about at different times. So I don't have a set time, for example, to do admin every week. I know I'll do it every week, but I don't have a set time because it doesn't suit me. I don't work in a structure like that. I don't work very well like that. And so if I have it set out in my diary to do admin at 10 o'clock on a Monday, I'll probably just sit at the desk and feel really shit about it and not do anything. And then I've wasted that time. Whereas, because maybe at Monday at 10 o'clock is when I'm in a creative mode and I want to make the most of that. So anyway, that's just something for you to think about. Think about what works for you and what doesn't. Hello to new people coming on as well. You might want to go back to the start, because we've covered heaps of content already, and I feel like it's going to be really valuable for a lot of people. The next thing I want to talk to you briefly about, we did touch on it earlier, is about getting support. So the entrepreneurial path can be quite lonely, because you're probably working from home, or working at maybe you're going to a little paid office somewhere, but you can feel quite isolated. So surround yourself as much as possible with like-minded people doing the same thing. And there are so many awesome networking groups around. I'm happy to share details of the networking groups that I'm involved in, but there's also paid masterminds, which can be a very affordable way of connecting in with other people. So I'm in a paid mastermind, and I bloody love it, because anytime I'm not sure about something, it's like a 24/7 hotline. I just jump in the group and say, does anyone know how to do this? Or, I'm having a problem with PayPal. Can anyone help me? And it's just like a lifeline. So definitely it's better than just a networking group for me. Networking groups are great for having a sense of community, but a paid mastermind is like a whole nother level. And also I have been investing in coaching, in business coaching, which has really changed the game for me. So again, I don't feel alone. I know I've got a session every single Friday. It's set up. I know my coach will be there. I've got a bunch of questions that we can go through, and I don't feel like I'm doing it alone. And so that's a really useful thing. Now, the next thing I want to move on to is to talk about what it means to be soul-led as an entrepreneur. This is a huge topic. I could talk about it ad nauseum. I don't even know what time it is, but I think I've got time just to talk about that a bit more. In fact, I think we'll finish earlier than I had planned. So soul-led, what does it mean? For me, as a spiritual being, as a really, heart-centered woman, to me, it's following my inner wisdom and guidance. And it's tapping into my intuition, trusting my gut, tapping into the divine. I'm throwing all these terms at you to see if there's one that resonates for you, that you think, yeah, that's what I understand to be soul-led. It's like, I genuinely believe that our ideas are divinely inspired, and that they, pop in, and that they are, in general, they are what we're here to do, but very often we find it hard to follow them because they might come out of nowhere and we think, oh my God, what's that harebrained idea? Where did that come from? But what I've been finding is that if I follow those desires and ideas, amazing stuff happens. It's just like following the path that my soul knows I'm here to take. So that's what I mean by being soul-led. So to be that, it requires a certain level of trust in yourself and your inner wisdom, and knowing that your intuition is so often right. And often we'll do this thing where we say, oh, my gut was telling me not to do that, and I went ahead and did it. And then you look back and you go, oh God, I knew not to do that. So trust your gut, because it will never lead you wrong. That's been my experience and the experience of many that I've worked with. Also, being able to surrender to what is been such a powerful tool that I use regularly, and I include that in what I'm calling being soul-led. Surrendering when you don't, because often we don't know what the outcome is going to be or what it's meant to be. We think we know. We often think, oh, well, I wanted to make this amount of money and I wanted to sell this many pieces or courses or whatever, and that didn't happen. Oh, so it's all a big failure. If you surrender instead and go, well, I didn't make what I thought, and then allow it to be, quite often what you'll find is that it's all worked out perfectly. It will allow another door to open by that one closing. So surrender has been such a useful tool, and I include that in soul-led because I think it's a really important part of it. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I didn't start out this way. This has been a process of learning for me, and I'm hoping that if you're watching, you're still in the early stages and it's not too late for you to change and think about these things and think how you can incorporate them into what it is that you're creating. So yeah, just allow that what is to be, and then go, yep, you know what? I don't know where this is headed. This is obviously for my highest good. I'm going to surrender to it. I'm just checking my notes here. Always checking for alignment. That's the other thing that I want to mention about being soul-led. Recently, I had the inspiration to create the course, the program that I'm running, which is called Entrepreneur. It starts on Saturday. And I called it Entrepreneur. But there was something not right about it, and I kept thinking, oh, I'm just not getting behind it in the way I ordinarily would. What is going on? And what I realized was there was the soul-led piece was missing, both from the name and the content of the program. So by me checking, oh, it's not in alignment, it doesn't feel entirely in alignment with me, what needs to change, I was able to bring it back into pure alignment, and it feels so magical again. So I would suggest to you that keep asking yourself, does this feel aligned? Does it align with my values? Does it feel like my soul wants me to do this? Or am I doing it because I think I should? Or am I doing it because I can't think of anything else and I've just got to do something because I'm desperate? You know, if you're coming from a place of scarcity, desperation, oh, I've just got to do this, and it doesn't feel aligned, then very likely it's not going to go far. That's been my own personal experience. It's taken me a shit lot of failures to realize that. Failures in a good way, because that's how we learn. But it has taken me a while to learn that one. The other example I want to give you was, about alignment. Was recently I was coaching a client and we were doing 40-minute sessions every week. And I just didn't feel like she needed 40 minutes. I felt like she only needed 20. And while it would mean a drop in my income to change it from 40 to 20, and she hadn't noticed or asked for it, I just knew it was out of alignment to continue to offer that without offering her an option of less time, because I just felt like we only needed 20. So I had the conversation with her and I said, you know what, I think you could do this in 20. Do you want to switch to 20? She was over the moon because it meant less money for her. And, you know, I felt better about it. So even though it was a drop in my income, I felt better. And it's the same with clients. You know, if there's someone who wants to work with you and you are not feeling the love, you're feeling like, I really don't want to work with this person, then can I recommend that to trust your intuition on that? Because yes, you might make the money, but other things will happen that you end up wishing you didn't take them on. That's what I wanted to say about that. So that brings us to the end of the session. I hope you've gotten great value out of it. And I do want to just remind you that I am offering this beautiful program. If you or someone you know is starting out in business, then do have a look at it. It's aprilmac.com.au/entrepreneur. And it's all about being a soul-led entrepreneur and getting started on the right foot. So check that out. We start on Saturday and the pre-work starts now, so people can sign up anytime from now. What I do want to mention as well is that tomorrow we've got another session. We've got a session every day this week. If you can come at the same time, same bat channel. Tomorrow's session is about the difference between a hobby and a business. I've got a lot to say about that one too. So I hope you can make it to that. Let me just have a quick check here if there are any comments that I need to respond to. No, none that I need to respond to now. If you're watching on replay, do leave a comment so I know you were here, and I will see you online tomorrow. Bye for now.